I'm Sage Crofts with Cody Youth for Justice, and we're Cody Youth for Justice. I guess I'll just start real quick. We're all just going to go in little sequences here. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. But so I'm here in support of House Bill 218. In the next few weeks, I'll be deciding where I'm attending college as a senior. And unfortunately, I feel uncomfortable with attending college or university in Wyoming. Despite scholarships and a lot of other financial benefits in Wyoming, myself and many of my peers feel uncomfortable living in an area that does not support the right for victimized individuals to seek the justice that they seek after they've been affected by a biased crime. This bill supports large, diverse communities in welcoming them into the Wyoming community. And this lack of bias-motivated crime protection is a factor that deters me from residing in Wyoming or returning later in life. So I'll turn it over to the rest of my group, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the House Judiciary Committee. My name is Sarah Andre. I'm here representing Cody Youth for Justice, and I'm speaking in support of House Bill 218, bias-motivated crimes. Recently in my community, a lesbian couple who has lived in Cody for years was approached by their neighbors and told that their kind was not welcome in Wyoming. That was then followed by threats. This message was not one directed to only them. It was a message to anyone like them or like-minded. In a state that prides itself on equality, these actions cannot slip through the cracks. In order to keep and attract Wyoming citizens, everyone must feel safe and welcomed. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. I'm Gillian Grouni here with Cody Youth for Justice as well, also in support of House Bill 218. I am someone whose grandparent is a member of the LGBTQ community. After the situation that Ms. Andre spoke on, my grandpa's safety has come up a lot. My grandpa does not live in Wyoming. However, we have been trying for years for him to make Wyoming his retirement community. Because of the recent hate crime being ignored as a biased crime, it has created an unwelcome atmosphere for him and many others. It's very important to me that people should feel safe and equal in the equality state. If we want people residing in Wyoming, we need to prioritize all people's safety and make them feel welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Sophie Anderson, also with Cody Youth for Justice in support of the bill. And I just wanted to share a personal story today. So my freshman year, I took a class called Mass Communications, and we were tasked with the duty of creating a video about anything we wanted. And the first person that came to mind was my grandma, because she is one of the most inspirational people in my life and the kindest. And I wanted to do just a little clip on her life because she grew up in the Soviet Union when it was reigned by the Communist Party. And my family comes from a lineage of Muslim heritage, and she is a practicing Muslim woman. And I wanted to do a video on just how she survived all of that. And, you know, she wasn't allowed to practice, and they lived in fear of, and they weren't allowed to be proud of who they are. And when I brought this to her, I was super excited that I was going to be able to share with my peers just how amazing of a woman she was. She did not react with the same excitement. She was actually very scared. She came with fear that me living in Cody, Wyoming, which is something like I never thought to question, that my teachers, my students, my peers would then treat me differently because they would know that I have a Muslim grandmother. And this to me was extremely saddening because she's someone I love and one of the most highest people that I love in my life. And she no longer lives in Cody, Wyoming. And the fact that she did not feel comfortable sharing her history and her experience in Cody, Wyoming, and then the fact that she had the same kind of fear that she had living in a communist country is just something that feels really wrong to me. So I hope that you really consider the bill, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Oh, and
well, you don't have to stand, but you can sit. Questions for our students? Representative Washer.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to say thank you for coming today and for engaging in the process. I hope you're finding your time at the Capitol enlightening and worth the long trip. You probably get to drive home in some pretty heavy snow. I hope you make it home safely. My comment, or more of a question for you is one is, was your grandmother ever victimized in a way? Was she assaulted or any of those kinds of acts while she was in Cody, Wyoming? And the reason I ask that, and also to the other question about you're kind or not wanted here, those are, that's a verbal expression which is not going to be addressed by this law. So I want expectations to be realistic about what kinds of things can be addressed with legislation.
Thank you for your question, Representative Washit. I can go ahead and answer that if that's okay. My grandmother was never personally targeted while living in Cody, Wyoming, because she was too scared to actually come forward as a Muslim woman. She did not tell that to many people, whereas when she lived in South Dakota, she actually joined a community of Muslim women there, and they were all proud to be Muslim, and they just had a great time like experiencing that together. And they do have a bias hate crimes law in South Dakota.